Welcome out to the Epically Geeky Show, episode number 147. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. Tonight's opening question is, what generic item or items do you prefer over the name brand version, if any? Ray, is there any generic brands that you prefer over the big brand version?
Yeah, so I had to go back for this one. As everybody is aware, Tim Hortons is very popular in Canada.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
very popular brand. And there was a bit of a knockoff a long time ago. Another hockey star really wanted to get his name in the game as well. And so Addy Shack actually created his own coffee shop, and Addy Shack Donuts was created. And I remember going there as a kid. There was one store that I remember for sure that my dad always went to because he preferred the coffee there for over Tim Hortons for a while. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I'm going to go with Addy Shack because it's the knockoff. The last one closed in 2014. And, but yeah, I got to go with Addy Shack because you got to support Addy Shack, man. The dude couldn't even read. So he just played hockey and punched people in the head. It was
well, that's what you tend to do whenever you can't read. So
that's right.
Joseph, do you have any generic brands you prefer?
I have a serious one and a not so serious one. The serious one is the H-E-B brand of like the cheese puffs and the cheese balls. I like those better than the Cheetos brand, just because H-E-B is great at what they do. And then just to kind of throw back as to what we were talking about earlier, medication, generic medication, because it's so much cheaper.
Yes.
It's the same damn thing.
Yes, it is.
Well, right about that.
Joining us all the way from over the pond,
hey,
because it's been a while, Jen. So real quick, in case you haven't been listening to the other shows and everything that's going on, our friend Jennifer sold her house and moved to Ireland to go to school. So how you doing, Jen?
I am cold and tired, but I'm good. It's not even winter, and Ireland is already attacking me, as you can hear from my nasalness, and I've been coughing and sneezing all week. But, you know, I'm here. I'm got a house, so I'm getting settled in.
Good deal.
I miss that.
Can I just say, your internet connection is better there than it was at your
So far,
actually,
so
I'm on
accurate.
my phone. I'm on phone data because I don't have internet at this house yet. But also, yeah, I haven't had any issues, knock on wood, with the data or the internet wherever I've gone. So,
nice.
Supposed to tell you, Spectrum is great, right?
Oh, jeez, don't get me started. So are there any generic brands that you prefer over the name brand?
I don't know that I'd say I prefer, but I have always just been a fan of generics because it's the same thing for a cheaper price usually. Mm-hmm. And I will second what Joseph said. Pretty much anything from H-E-B generic is great. I used to get a discount because my mom works there, and I got, you know, that friends and family discount, so I would usually get the generics anyways. But I have to say their Dr. B is just as good or better than their Dr. Pepper. And I know that's like fighting words for a Texan, but I would buy that because it's like tastes almost the same. So
fair enough.
What do you know?
I was going to say there are, and I don't know any right offhand, but like if you go into a place like Walgreens or whatever, you know, they have their generic version. I think it's nice. I think that's what their generic version is. A lot of their cookies and candy and stuff taste perfectly fine, if sometimes not better, especially some of the cookies, because they'll tend to be a little on the softer side. But once again, living in Texas, Joseph nailed it. Like H-E-B is on point with their a lot of their foods, in particular, like their chips. And they specifically have these cheese balls. There's a cheddar jalapeno and a cheddar and bacon, and they're both fantastic. But if you mix them together, that's good eating right there. Jen's shaking her head. She's like, no, I can't do that. And then, like you said, of course, you know, when it comes to medication, it's just like, you know, you go to the source like, oh, well, it's going to be, you know, $500. Well, is there a generic yet? Yeah, it'll be $5. Oh yes, I'll take the $5 version over the 500 version. Thank you. So
I forgot to mention there's a bagged cereal in Walmart here. It's a generic version of like Cinnamon Toast Crunch or all these other ones that are really good. The bagged versions are actually better than the big box ones and hell of a lot cheaper. So I do have to amend my answer. I've just remembered those. Those are so much better.
Well, that brings us to our subject for tonight. So, I, for whatever reason, decided to go back and I have re-listened to all 146 episodes. Actually, it's 148 because we had a couple additional ones in there. Episodes of this podcast, and going back.
How does that even happen?
I don't know why I got started on it. I think I didn't want to start another book, and I was like, oh, I'll just go back and listen to this episode, and it just kind of kept playing, and then I was just like, I'm just going to keep going. So I just recently went back through all the episodes, and one of our really early episodes was we came up with generic versions of different things. Now, that one was specifically, we were supposed to come up with a generic version of like cereal, a generic, there was a couple other generic things we were supposed to come up with. And Cyrus, being Cyrus, of course, didn't understand the instructions, so he was coming up with some different things. And at one point came up with a generic version of Ghostbusters. And it was like Spectral Exterminators. And he actually put it together, and it sounded kind of funny. And I was just like, you know what, maybe we should go back and do that. But this time we'll do it with pop culture stuff. So that's what we have been tasked with tonight, is we're coming up with generic versions of different things in pop culture. And I didn't say specifically what it could be, what it had to be. It didn't have to be a movie or a TV show or a book or whatever. So just something kind of in pop culture. So we're going to go around and do that. Now, Jen was thinking it might be fun if we started explaining what it is and see if everyone else can figure out what it is this generic version is of. So with that being said, I guess we can do that. And would anyone like to go first?
I'll kick off.
All right, Ray.
Unfortunately, none of you are Canadian, so some of them may not be easily picked up on.
Okay.
I started with a very popular band in Canada.
Okay.
Robin Sparkles.
I was going to say, let's go.
No. And then I better write this down before I forget it, because I came up with another one that I'm going to need help with. So the first one, I guess I'll go over kind of the hits of this band.
Okay.
So the hits were 100 Years Ahead of Me. Big Easy is Descending. Grain Royalty. And Violinists Ver. The Sadly Cool Band is not a knockoff. It is a true band. We have members of Ford Gowney, Bob Raker, Fred Johnson, and Peter Lang. Sadly Cool. I'm not sure if anybody remembers what they may actually be known as.
Nope.
The Tragically Hip. So the Tragically Hip is actually one of the biggest bands in Canada. Tragically Hip it was a massive, massive band in Canada. Gord Downey was a genius. Go back and you can listen to a lot of their songs. Ahead by a Century was one of their biggest hits.
And so
then you had
version?
What's that? 100 Years Ahead of Me.
Okay, gotcha.
Big Easy is Descending. The actual title is New Orleans is Sinking.
Nice.
Grain Royalty for mine. The actual name was Wheat Kings. And Violinists Ver is also Fiddler's Green is what the name of the song was. So
Violinists Ver.
I don't have much to contribute to this one, surprisingly. I can't expound on that concept.
That's why I thought I'd start with this one, just because I figured Sean would have been able to help me with that one a bit more. But
Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sean. Leave me hanging. Tragically Hip. If you get a chance, look them up. They had some amazing songs. We lost Gord Downey a couple years ago. But yeah, just a great band. They kind of a nice rock sound to them. So yeah.
Cool. Good job, sir. Joseph, what's the first generic pop culture item you came up with?
Okay. First of all, I guess I'll read the description I have. King Klaus has kidnapped Princess Prunus and carried her off. Mueller and Friedrich must chase him through fantastical landscapes, dark forests, haunted mansions, and the attics of houses. Your characters are Mueller, Friedrich Mueller, Princess Prunus, King Klaus, Krot, and Draken. You have certain power-ups, Estrella Man, the Fuego Flower, and a Taki Sleeve.
Super Mario Brothers it is.
That is awesome.
I called it the Sensational Mueller-kin. And for whatever reason, I went with German names for the people and Spanish names for power-ups. Why not?
Why not?
And what system? Is there a system in particular that you would play this on? The
Oh,
what?
I did not choose a system. I was just going to do the Super Nintendo. But I chose to do that you went through the attics of houses instead of going in pipes into the subworld because
Yeah.
Oh.
I like that. It could be a hit on the Poly Station. I have seen the Poly Station for sale. So.
But that was my first one. Yeah.
I like it.
I'm trying to remember. I think someone came up with the game sack. It may have actually been one of Sai's things. Was the game instead of an Xbox, it was the game sack, and literally all the components were just in a bag.
You put it together yourself.
It works.
Yeah. So, Jen, what's your first generic version?
Well, mine isn't nearly as detailed as theirs, but the first one is 9 families compete for the chance to sit in a very uncomfortable but cool-looking chair, also dragons. Called the Contest of Chairs.
Contest of Chairs? Nice.
Can you guess whatever I'm talking about?
No idea.
Never heard of it.
So is it still going to be set in like medieval age, or is it going to be like?
I'm kind of foreseeing like an Office vibe, where they're all competing over this one awful chair. Like maybe it's coworkers instead of families. Maybe I should have said that.
I like the coworker thing.
It's the different departments. That's how you get
there you
that.
go.
Yeah,
Even better. Different
but
departments.
somehow they're still dragons.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And so instead of everyone dying, does everyone just like eventually get fired? Everyone gets fired.
The receptionist and one of the salespersons get married. It's the red wedding.
Oh God!
Oh no! Oh, the red wedding's not in this one.
After 7 seasons, like only 2 people are still left in the business.
But the red wedding is just spilled red wine everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh Lord!
On my white truck.
Yes. Nicely done. All right, my first one. So, Anthony Amps is trying to get a superpower pill that will give him godlike powers in Wonderland. Wonderland is this new VR thing that everyone's like really into. But they're like the guy who created it, Jim Holiday, basically said, hey, listen, whoever finds it is going to get control of everything. So everyone's like trying to figure this stuff out. His best friend Jay is trying to help him find it, and there's this girl he's kind of crushing on. Her name's Minerva. So Holiday keeps making it harder and harder for people to get items and stuff, and he keeps adding secret goals and all this other stuff until they end up kind of finding a way around it. So they're going to in this world, they're going to keep traveling through all these different lands that has actually pulled in all this different IP from different places or whatever. And so because this is kind of an offhand, this is a generic version of something. I thought the IP that they would be traveling through would also be generic. So they're going to go visit the world of the GoBots, the Sewer Sharks, Foghat, the Lion Prince, all of those generic IP things that you've seen. That's what's going to be in this world. And of course, does anyone have a guess as to what the
Well, it's Ready Player One. I'm just trying to figure out the title.
Gamer One start? I was like, what better way to bring in generic IP than to literally do something that would literally bring in all this generic IP. So all of those offhand movies and stuff, like, like you said, you're not gonna see Transformers in this. You're gonna get the GoBots. You're not gonna see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You're gonna get the Sewer Sharks. You're gonna get that slightly off version that's almost there but not quite. So yeah, that was the first one I came up with. So
I like it.
Ray, what's your next one?
So I'm gonna get the other band out of the way because once again it's very Canadian.
Okay.
So they had such hits as If I Had a Few Bucks, 7 Days, Slap Me, Q&A.
Bare Naked Ladies.
Yep, I know this one. I actually knew this one.
I had $1 million.
If I had a few bucks. And then Bruce Johnson was their other hit. So to go through the list again, you had If I Had $1 Million, 1 Week instead of 7 days.
Right.
Pinch Me instead of Slap Me. Call and Answer. I figured Q&A would be good. My Previous Rental. The Old Apartment was the actual song. And then Bruce Johnson was actually Brian Wilson. So this is The Well-Dressed Men.
Gotcha.
Thought that would be good. And that was thanks to Logan. Logan and I were having a little chat in the car about this.
Logan.
Yeah. So we the story, we were listening to the radio on the way to her work the other day, and the Tragically Hip was playing, and I asked her, so who sings this? And she said, okay, give me a hint, but don't give it away. I said, okay. The Sadly Cool. And she's like, oh, the Tragically Hip. I'm like, yeah. And then I told her about this, and she's like, oh, you should come up with The Well-Dressed Men. I'm like, oh, Bare Naked Ladies. Okay, yeah. So we went through. Yeah. So thanks to Logan, that helped out.
Can I offer one just because I'm playing through the song through my head and I'm trying to keep the same number of beats. Could it be changed to if I had a couple pesos? Because that would actually keep the same beat. So
that works for me too.
That I actually knew that when as soon as you said music, I was like, well, I'm not gonna get this one either. But I did. So I felt cool. Joseph, what's your next one?
All right. Well, let me ask you guys. How do you want me to start this? Do you want to name the villains in this new thing, or would you like me to talk about what's some of the characters that are in it?
Let's go with the villains.
The villains first.
The villain. Okay.
All right. We have classic villains like the Combackerator, Adversary, Slobberer, and Autocrat. All right. You have lead characters like Leroy Smith, Clara and Christoph Blue Metal, and Jillian St. Patrick's Day. They are members of Sons trying to fight a menacing horde of unalive laborers that have taken over Kinkajou City. Eugene's face, I think I broke his brain.
Is this Resident Evil?
Citizen Calamity. I couldn't think of a good name for the Regenerator, so Combackerator was all I could come up with.
That's fine, yes.
Yeah.
Did anyone else use a thesaurus for this, by the way? I totally had to pull out a thesaurus.
A couple times.
Yes, okay, good. Glad I'm not the only one. Oh, I was like, okay, this just, yeah. Good job. I like that. Jen, what's your next one?
Okay. Some really old people with bad diets can't keep up with the times. It's called Things Happen at Night. I know that's not a lot to go.
I think I just got it.
What?
Is it What We Did in the Shadows?
Nice.
Yeah, Things Happen at Night.
So
I know,
just,
it's interesting, but...
Really
I like it.
So they're just old people instead of vampires?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're really old. I mean, technically vampires are really old.
Well, that's true. Very true. So...
We only got a couple more weeks.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that. Awesome. All right, my next one is actually I'll go ahead and give you this. It's a board game. I'll be honest with you. After I did this, I actually thought this would be a really fun game to actually have. Okay, so
Can I put a guess out there before you do anything else?
sure, go ahead.
Clue.
No, actually, okay, so on this game, there's a map of Detroit, and you're trying to connect bus lines to complete routes. You have to collect resources to claim the routes. You have to get passes, but you can also take someone else's route. Like you can just flat out steal someone else's route as part of your turn if you want to. We're gonna add there's a die in the game though, and after each route there's a die that's rolled. And it can determine different things that happen. So in some cases, nothing happens. Everything normal play continues. Sometimes though, there's a freeze that destroys part of the road, so it makes it so that you lose part of the roadways you're building. You have to deal with rioting. You have to pay off politicians. So there's lots of things that can actually kind of destroy your routes or whatever. If the game takes off, I've actually already planned out. There's a couple of other not expansion. Well, I guess you'd call them expansions. We could also do versions that are in LA, and this time you'd have to worry about riots, earthquakes, fires, mudslides, EPA shutting down your routes. You could also do New York. You got to worry about parades, aliens taking over. So yeah, there's it's a board game that I think would really do really well.
I want to say Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
It's based off Ticket to Ride, but this game's going to be called The Road to Hell, which is why I said it in Chicago. And I was just like, what other cities could we go to that would be an absolute shit show trying to figure out the transit system?
The earthquake alone, right? You'd split the track in half, and
exactly. I was like, the more I thought about it, I was like, actually, how much fun would it be is if you're building these routes and someone rolls a die and go, oh, sorry, section 6 had riots or whatever, and so everyone has to take off part of their routes or whatever, and you got to rebuild your stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I like it. Your buses, sorry.
Yeah, the buses, yes, because we can't use trains. That might get us in trouble.
Subway.
Yeah, we can do a subway. So, but no, I wanted to make sure we got LA in there because it was just like everyone who talks about LA hates LA. So I'm just like, no, well, LA would be one of the first expansions, and we can go to New York. And
if you do it, you have to include Toronto because now there would be a lot of riots, but
we'll see. But see, that's the other thing is like other cities you can look into other problems. So like New Orleans, of course, like half the die would be like fucking hurricane and just like half the boat's gone.
Toronto, it would be fantastic because everywhere is roadways. You only have 2 subway lines. One goes east-west, the other one goes north and south. So to get anywhere is impossible. If you've ever been to LA for highways, we laugh at your problems because your problems are funny to us because the highways here are so much worse.
Wow,
especially
that's crazy.
Toronto.
Yeah. See, I was like, what other city? I was going to ask what other cities, and I'm glad you said Toronto. So
Toronto for sure. Edmonton, you could add Vancouver is another one that has because Vancouver, their streets are too narrow for what they've done. They make it 3. Well, they've made it 6 lanes wide, but it's only probably wide enough for like 3. The buses actually don't fit in the lane.
Oh, lovely.
It's fun.
See, here in Texas, I would probably put Houston, Dallas. Dallas is kind of a nightmare to navigate. So,
which is anywhere on 35.
Yeah, pretty. Actually, you know what? Just the whole 35 corridor actually would be. Would suck.
You have to include Hamilton. It's all one-way streets.
Oh my god.
The downtown is all one-way streets. So you got to figure your way out. You have to know the one-ways. It's insane.
Jesus. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, Road to Hell. I thought that might end up being a fun board game. So
I like it.
All right, Ray. Do you have another one for us?
I do. I've got 2 more.
Okay.
So I went with movies this time around. I'll just do the little readout here. Billionaire James May was able to recreate living feathered lizards using a chalk layer that holds this fascinating time. Travel back to up to 145 million years ago using unknown science that no one understands. Watch the Titanosaurus graze and the Gigantosaurus hunt in this fascinating and boring movie where technology works and everything has a backup system. No one person can bring this place down, especially after May's niece, Denise Geeky, is arrested for insider trading. Welcome to Cretaceous Recreation Area.
Nice. I was gonna say this is kind of sounding a little bit like Carnosaur.
So my little spin, it works. Why would you create a place where it doesn't have a backup system?
I love the fact you were like, oh yeah, everything works. Like technology actually works here.
Yeah.
So
what got me thinking about that? I work in an industry that is like we have redundancy after redundancy after redundancy. And I can imagine that if you're going to open up a recreation area or a park, you're going to have redundancies.
Yeah. Well, okay. I would say yes if you're thinking on the scale of Disney or Six Flags or something like that. And then I remembered, and I still haven't watched I've only watched the small documentary on it, but Action Park, which apparently was like a nightmare. Literally, people were like getting hurt left and right and dying at this park. But no, again, yeah, I agree.
If you're making dinosaurs,
you would hope so. Yeah. So.
We're gonna put all our eggs in this one basket, literally.
Exactly. Yes. By the way, and I forgot to point this out on my first one. Did y'all like the name changes that I did on that? Because I had, instead of Wade Watts, I had Anthony Amps. So, anyway. Joseph, what's your next one?
So I didn't flush this one out quite as well as I did the other ones. It was 3 teenagers chosen from a high school to fight the Rona attractor. You have Johnny, the red one, Bobby, the blue one, and Tony, the green one. As far as I got, and they are the potent changing capacity rovers.
Okay.
All right. What other vehicles?
Oh, it was a toy dinosaur for the red one, not an actual full size. So he was like on a little tricycle kind of thing.
Okay.
Bobby was in a rhinoceros instead of a triceratops, and Tony had a Komodo dragon instead of the actual dragon sword.
You could throw an elephant in there.
Could. A lizard. It's a little chameleon.
That's awesome. What's funny is there's a channel on YouTube I watch, Toy Galaxy, and he does a lot of behind the history on some old shows and stuff, and he's gone through a lot of those. I don't want to say they were knockoffs, but they were like, because some of them were done by Saban Entertainment as well. Mm-hmm. But like Big Bag Beetleborgs, some of these are just like, wow, like y'all were scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to come up with something to
there's like
keep capitalizing on.
There's like 20 different kinds of Power Rangers now.
There was like the VR Troopers. Did y'all watch that show?
Mm-hmm.
I remember VR Troopers. Yep. So I ought to go check out Toy Galaxy and look at some of these shows that he's done. He's done behind the scenes stuff on, because some of it's actually kind of interesting, like how it came, like how they came around and figured out. There were actually some big names that worked on some of these shows, and it was just like they just didn't take, like all the oxygen was already eaten up in the room by Power Rangers. So, but they kept trying. So, Jen, what's your next one?
Okay, the one I had, I didn't really like, and Ray inspired me, so I just came up with this based on music.
Okay.
So this band's hits include the song "Hopelessly," "Closed Legs," "Give Up," and "This Is the Only Way." And the name of the band is Inaction.
Inaction.
They're all antonyms. Give you a hint.
I have no clue.
No.
So the band is Journey.
Oh, okay.
So instead of Hopelessly, we have Faithfully.
Yeah.
Don't Stop Believing is Give Up.
Give up.
Give up.
Open Arms is Closed Legs, and Any Way You Want It is This Is the Only Way.
Nice.
I know it. It was last minute. Sorry.
I like it.
I like it. All right, so I only did 3, so this is my third one. This one I really can't describe. I really can't do this. This is the one when you were like, oh, hey, let's do it around this way and see if people can guess. This one doesn't really lend itself to that. I mainly just kind of have to explain this one, because the comedy is from what I've come up with. Okay, so anyway, so we all know there's a certain particular site that gobbled up all of these other sites that were a lot like it. Of course, that was Pornhub. They were basically like, oh, hey, we're just going to grab all these other ones. We'll be the place that you can go to all these different things. And there's lots of different things out there for every different type of like. But they don't have all of it. There are still things out there that they don't have links to. And so I'm going to create a site. And it's going to be a generic site, but it's going to point to all these different types of porn that people are after. So instead of Porn Hub, it's going to be Porn Post. And it's going to be the central location for lots of different websites, including the Saucy site. And that's going to be where people get to upload short video clips from food porn. And I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about just like the slowly pulling away the melted cheese from a pizza. And another site's going to be called Open Up, and that's going to be unboxing porn.
Yes.
I don't get that one, but there are people out there that are just like all about
unboxing stuff.
Opening the box, and they're just like, oh no, like how was it packaged? And I'm just like, who the fuck cares? Like just get the thing out and whatever. Some of the other ones that I said was Tidy First would be organizational porn. I have to understand. I kind of understand that one. Like watching some of these shows on Netflix and stuff where they're like, oh look, we can do this to organize. I'm like, that's a really good idea. And then Satisfaction will be, and I kind of get this one as well. I see a lot of this on my Facebook feed. What they call satisfaction videos, where they're cutting something and it slices just perfectly, or someone does something and like they're like putting tiles or something together and it just fits absolutely like everything just lines up perfectly for once in life, and it's just like, that's nice. Yes, there were some other ones that I kind of came across my head, and I was just like, do what?
You missed one, man.
ASMR.
You missed one called Peel Me, where just people peel the plastic protective film off of things.
Oh my God, yes, I would totally be into that.
Yep.
Okay, I cannot. We've got these phones on my campus, and they have been there forever. And I will walk into a teacher's classroom, and it still has the film on there, and I'm just like, I have to peel this. Like, why would you leave that on there? No, I totally get that one. Originally,
also.
Go on.
I was gonna say there's also people who like things like pimple popping and.
Yes, I thought about that one. I didn't want to put that one on there, and the other one I didn't want to put on there was torture porn. I cannot do those movies, and I'm just like, no, this is going to be for us weirdos that like I said, like watching people cut boxes open and take shit out or whatever. So yeah,
Twitch, but for random everyday things.
And literally it's going to be people, and it would be just like Pornhub. It would be people taking these small clips from Netflix and YouTube and everywhere else of people doing these activities. And here's the funny thing, I could actually see it taking off. I could actually see people being like, oh yeah, I would totally go watch, just video after video after video of people, unboxing shit or people. Yeah. Yep. So yeah. Anyway, so I don't know why that popped in my head, and I was just like, that would actually be a decent one. So definitely not the type of porn most people would be thinking. Ray, do you have another one for us, or you good?
I do. I have one last one here. Physician Beige has created a time traveling fridge. After the initial tests, Marshall McSore finds himself stuck in the 1970s. He encounters his grandfather, which interrupts him meeting which interrupts the meeting of his grandparents. Can Marshall find a younger Physician Beige to help him get the fridge working again? Can he get his grandparents to meet and ensure they fall in love? Will Marshall ever return to the present?
Marshall. Back to the Future?
Yes, but what would it be called? It would be
Return to the Present.
Return to the Present. Gotcha. Yeah. Nice.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first started out, I was like, Doctor Who. He's got a
I thought the same thing at first too for a second.
fridge and a position.
Well, the original story was supposed to be a time traveling fridge. So
Yes, it was. So glad they went with a DeLorean.
Yes, so much better.
Not sure how you get the fridge up to 88 miles an hour. Joseph, do you have another one for us?
I did not. No.
You did not. Jen, did you have any other ones?
No, that's it. for
Good
me.
deal.
The only other one that I thought about, and I never fleshed it out, was instead of The Office, just call it Desk Job. And you just make it really generic. Like,
I had thought of what the office would be like if it took place in Canada, and nothing would happen. Everybody would just be so nice to each other.
I was literally just going to say the generic version of The Office would be nothing happens. Like, we're literally just watching these people work.
It's Seinfeld. It's Seinfeld, but The Office.
Yeah. So it's like, well, that was a cool 30-minute episode of, Jim like stapling a bunch of stuff together. Cool. Guess I'll come back for the next one.
people actually doing work instead of like goofing off.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, does that really happen? I guess so. So, well, if no one has anything else, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this one up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move on to our picks and pans. Would anyone like to go first? All right, I'll go first. Oh, all right, Jen, what do you have for us?
I moved to Ireland recently,
Is that a pick or a pan?
Yeah.
so it depends on the day. So yeah, that's what I've got going on right now. It's been a big learning curve, but I'm here. I made it. Yay!
Awesome. Yeah, we already miss you, friend.
Mm-hmm.
So
We haven't figured out how to do game night yet.
yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out sometime.
Definitely gonna have to use the EBG or whatever the
Board game arena thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, they've got Pandemic on it now. So the nice thing about it is it is a team game. So have we played any team games on there? I think we've only played.
Yeah, no, we did. We did the Sorry version.
Yeah, we tried doing talk, but
Okay.
you're not supposed to be able to talk to each other, so
Yeah.
Okay, no, this game you specifically have to play as a team. So, I've actually got a couple different picks. First one is since we talked last. I'm pretty sure it's since we talked last. Joseph and Lainey and I got to go to a convention. And I can't believe how much I miss conventions. Oh, it was so much fun. So yeah, we got to do Classic Game Fest in Austin, Texas, with the Ghostbusters, and we had a lot of fun doing that. The other two picks that I have are both on Netflix. The first one is Masters of the Universe Revelation. I understand why some people are criticizing it the way they are. Some people are upset that there's not enough He-Man and Skeletor in it. But it's called Masters of the Universe. It's not called the He-Man Show. Just pointing that out. I mean, he both of the guys do show up quite a bit in it. And where it leaves off with this first season, like, I can't wait to see where it goes. Because one of the other, of course, this is the stupid one. Everyone's like, oh, so it's supposed to be He-Man, and it's focusing on Teela and Evil Lynn and this other chick. So they're trying to do that to us. No, they're not. They're making her an interesting character for once, because otherwise she was just kind of like, oh, she was all kind of whiny or whatever in the original series, and now she's just like, no, I'm not taking this shit. And it's like, oh wow, Teela's an interesting character. This is cool. And it definitely kind of goes to a dark place. There was a point while we were watching it that I thought they almost killed off Claptrap, and you don't see it, but it would have been in a gruesome way, and I was just like, maybe I should have watched this before I watched it with the boys, but it was fine. It turned out okay. The other thing that we just wrapped up and finished watching was Transformers. Hold on. Transformers: War for Cybertron: Kingdom. This is the third in the trilogy that they're doing. It definitely leaves it open for additional seasons, which I hope they do. This one was really interesting because they've taken the lore from the original Transformers and changed it around. And in this one, they actually bring in the what are they called? The animals, from the series that was on in the late '90s that I
Beast
never
Wars?
really got into. Beast Wars, yes. They bring in the Beast Wars characters, and it makes sense the way that they brought them in, which was funny because my boys are watching it and they're just like, "Why is there a giant tiger attacking Optimus Prime?" Oh my God, it's a Transformer! Like it didn't even cross their mind that they could be Transformers as well. But yeah, it was really interesting the way that they did it. Like I said, I enjoyed watching it. I really enjoyed watching them with the boys. Um, I I really have to keep stopping myself from going down the toy aisle and picking up some of these toys because they are so cool looking. Some of them are literally the toy. They look like the toy we wanted when we were kids because they brought back a lot of the characters. Like we never really got a decent looking RC. And the RC that is out there, like she looks fantastic. Her car, she transforms into the car like she's supposed to. She looks like she's supposed to when she's transformed into a robot. It's just like, man, they did a good job on these. And then of course they brought back some of the favorites like Megatron and Soundwave and Prime and everyone. So yeah, I could drop a crap ton of money on that, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to because I don't have enough room. So, Ray, do you have a pick or pan for us?
Yep. Watched the first episode of What If. Quite enjoyed that.
Yes.
Okay, I got to jump in on that one too.
Yeah, that was I enjoyed it. Chris even was like I can get behind this. This is something I can enjoy. So that was good. And then it's been announced that our local theater will be opening up finally.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to start showing soon. They've done their hires and they've done their training. So I think they get to open about 50% capacity soon, which is great. And yeah, that's kind of where everyone's at
Just
here.
in time to close for Delta.
Hopefully not here, but yeah, down where you guys. Ooh.
Yeah. It's no
I was
bueno.
going to say, Eugene, I hope you enjoyed that con while you were able to, because
Yeah,
everything's about to start closing again.
Yeah, because the kids start back to school on Monday. So, yay, everyone under 12 is not vaccinated, and they're going to be in these large rooms together. So, one other thing I just want to throw in there as to what Ray was saying. The only way that first episode could have been better, and of course this would have never happened because of budget, confinement, would be as if it had been live action. Of course, I also kind of have a little bit of a crush on Haley Atwell, so seeing her actually as super soldiered up would have been awesome. But otherwise, oh my God, it was so good. I loved that take on it. So,
did you see that she came out and said that she would be willing to do a live action Captain Carter?
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
So there is also rumor out there that some of the characters that we get to meet in these episodes of What If will make it into live action. This is part of the flow of everything else. So this is part of the bigger MCU. So we'll get to meet some of these characters in the actual MCU as well. So I'm excited for that.
I hope Captain Carter makes that leap. That would be awesome.
Captain Carter would be cool. And the other one that I think that would be a really good addition would be, not that we've seen him in it yet, but Killmonger as a good guy. That would be interesting. So
that would be an interesting way to do it. So, Joseph, do you have a pick or pan for us?
Yeah, I got one pan and two picks. I'll start with one of my picks. Landon and I chose a wedding date.
Yay!
So we are officially it's officially official, and we already paid for half of the venue, so no turning back now. But so that's definitely one of them. We're both super excited for that. My pan. Last time that we recorded this show, I had gone to the doctor, got some blood work done. Things weren't exactly where I wanted them to be, so I kind of had to buckle down a little bit more, and which leads into my pick. Since the last show, I have lost 20 pounds.
Wow, dude!
Good on you.
So trying to keep going down that path, make sure the next time I get my blood drawn and all that stuff, I'm back to normal and all the things.
Good deal.
So
good on you.
Yeah, I gotta get back on that. I've just got a bunch of crap I've got to get done. So, Well, that is our show for the month, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Google, Stitcher, wherever it is you listen to the show. You can also check out our other shows at epicallygeeky.com. You can also follow everything that we do at Epically Geeky on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The other shows, we got the Marginally Geeky Show, Creatively Geeky, and Sustainably Geeky. And we should have new episodes of all those coming up here pretty quick. Where can we find you online, Jen?
You can find me here sometimes, marginally geeky sometimes, and I host Sustainably Geeky, which is our environmental show, and that drops the third Monday of each month. So that'll be out tomorrow if you're listening today,
Same day.
if you're not. So disregard. Anyways, you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Het'sGonnaBeMe.
Ray, where can we find you online?
I would normally mess around with Wikipedia with Sean, but I found this other website called Walkopedia, so maybe we'll try that one out. The Verlocked Yeti on Instagram.
Nice. Joseph, where can we find you online?
Just Google my name and you'll find me somewhere.
Good deal. And as always, you can find my individual wacky adventure online at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For everyone on the site, have a good night.